facts.
Yeah,
I'm
all
checking the box facts
Fine, then.
as to not be a hypocrite.
How boring.
You just said facts. You said facts don't matter. The beluga whale was listed last year under the Endangered Species Act. What happened this week was they designated critical habitat area. And if you listen to the people at the Resource Development Council and Sean Parnell and the likes, you think the sky was falling and the apocalypse was going to come.
I thought that's what they were hoping for.
Maybe they were. But, you know, a lot of rhetoric, and really this is the continuation, the reinforcement of that war on science. And I think that it's all in the same vein there, you know, completely ignoring the facts and stirring up fear through rhetoric. You know, your rates are going to go up for your sewage, or the cost of goods for transportation are going to go up. Those types of things. There's no basis in fact for those things. And if you look at the Endangered Species Act, it's kind of this convenient punching bag for the right. And if you look at what studies from MIT or the Fish and Wildlife Service or the General Accounting Office have done for tens of thousands of projects, less than 1/10% actually cause a project to stop. So, you know, most projects can be contoured to protect the species and the habitat. And yet we're seeing a lot of blowhard kind of statements to rile up people and get them scared.
Well, I think part of it is that they feel like if they have to answer to science, then they have to deny faith.
Shannyn, here's
What?
a point that seems to have escaped most Alaskans. And I don't know why, but it has. And that is, if you look at a map of Alaska, a real
like this.
land ownership map of Alaska, the state of Alaska is 103 million acres of that. All the rest belongs to the federal government, and 40 million belong to
BLM
native
and-
corporations. So if you want to kick the federal government out of Alaska, you're going to have a hell of a time, because they own most of the land base. And that was a problem for a lot of the, back in the early 1980s, remember the subsistence, the fight over
Right.
federal subsistence
Into the
management.
90s.
The equivalent of the teabaggers back then were saying, oh, the state of Alaska should have control of fish and game within the state. And the federales were saying, okay, there's your 103 million acres, have fun. And that's the same message to Sean Parnell.
We could
We've
buy our
actually had an
freedom
Alaska
dependent
Independence Party, right? I mean, viable deal, it's still going.
Well, we had a
And she was-
governor on that ticket. We had Wally Hickel, elected on the Alaska Independence Party ticket.
Secession was
Which
part of it.
secession is their platform. I mean, it was weird last year when national media was calling me and being like, so what's this deal with, you know, Mr. Palin being part of a secessionist group? And I'm like, oh yeah, the AIP, they're crazy, whatever. Yeah, you know, those guys, they all have a bunker under their house and a bunch of guns in it and Mormon food and whatever they need to stay alive forever. And I never ever thought of it.
What's Mormon food?
Oh, well, you know, the like big cans to
Okay.
feed like your 19 kids of cornmeal or whatever's in there.
I didn't know
And
that.
it was like this, I had to actually rethink the Alaska Independence Party.
Yeah.
I really did. It never occurred to me like that was un-American.
That's
like
what we call a moderate up here.
I know,
Yeah.
exactly. Like seceding from the Union is kind of un-American.
We meant seceding in a nice way.
But exactly. Like, I'll kiss you on the way out the door. I'll call you.
I hate to jump over a good friend here, but I have got to tell you that I signed the original petition to create the Alaska Independence Party. I knew Joe Vogler.
Joe Vogler was a friend
And
of mine.
Joe Vogler was a friend of mine, and Sean Parnell is no Joe Vogler. but Joe,
That sounds like that's a great bar song, too.
Joe Vogler was probably, would best be described as a socialist. He absolutely hated the oil companies. He didn't trust any corporation. And he had a bigger fight with corporate America than he did with the federal government, because he saw, he was into the Illuminati and all that. He saw the control of the future of Alaska at stake when you have big capital coming into Alaska.
And look, Joe Vogler was kind of right.
And he was kind of right.
He was kind of right. We've kind of been colonized, and I think there's a word for that. Capitalism, government, married, fascism, baby. Sucks. All right, this is Shannyn Moore. I've got a
Welcome.
great panel. Eric Croft, Elstun Lauesen, Bob Shavelson. We're going to be right back after this break. All right, welcome back. Thank you for.
They're getting dangerous. They're getting
I
more
know,
drunk.
it's getting
Yeah.
unruly. If
Yeah.
you'd like to come down to Bernie's Bungalow on a Thursday night and have adult beverages and talk politics, you're so welcome to send in an email to moreupnorth@gmail.com and get your tickets. They're free, they're fabulous, and you can come down and, heckle us. It's
Hang out
great.
with those people.
That's right, those people.
Those people.
It's fabulous. What is he talking
I don't
about? This is water, sir. No, I'm kidding. It really is. Okay, back to serious stuff. So much has happened this week, and like I said, SP1 is on bus tour that she goes on an airplane from bus to bus, something, Sarah Palin's, the tour. She's taking planes to the next bus. I don't know. Her carbon footprint has 2 feet. And this is all very easy to sort of be silly about, and it's funny. But SP 2.0, Sean Parnell, is making decisions here all the time that are really not getting any attention, or not very much. And this week, he has appointed his first Supreme Court Justice, Judge Craig Stowers, and talked about how great his character is, his legal experience, his strong work ethic, his intellect, his record of service. All of these things may be true. On his application, though, he listed a Bible verse, Micah 6:8, which says, "He has showed you, O man, what is good, and what does the Lord require to you, to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly by your God." Fabulous verse. I think it's wonderful. On your application to be a Supreme Court judge, separation of church and state, I'm a little curious. I'm glad it's not the part about stoning your wife, or that God hates gay people, or abominations, those sort of things. So here we've got someone
It's code
who's.
for that.
It is code for that.
Yeah.
I think you're right. So, I mean, he's sort of running far, far to the right, to the teabagger right. So I'm wondering from you, any of you, does it offend you, or does it bother any of you, or is it even a tiny red flag that this man puts Bible verses on his job application to be a judge? Ready? Go.
You want
Eric.
us to talk all at the same time? We have a really good system for selecting judges. We've sort of combined it has an ultimate political end, but it has a filter, so only the most qualified get through. And at various times, usually Republican governors, but governors have complained about it. I mean, we create a system that said, look, you're going to have political choices for even judicial positions, but we're going to make sure you're not appointing your drunk Uncle Charlie. We're going to make sure that they're qualified, and then the final decision may have an element of politics to it. And Craig Stowers came through that process with very high marks from all sides. So I'm not as upset about it. I'm not sure how it's code for the others, but I think that's what you get. When a Republican is appointing them, you're going to get a more conservative judiciary, but it's going to be within this limits of not somebody who can't put a sentence together. So filtered for qualifications, and then, yeah, they're going to pick from that side of the aisle.
This is a case where Sean Parnell actually benefited from the right wing not succeeding in their effort to change our judicial appointment process, for the very reason that Eric articulated, is that we have a careful system of checks and balances, so to speak. As you know, I was a boy evangelist when I was 12 years old, and
I didn't know that.
yes,
He's got a lot of therapy.
I recovered.
Okay.
And but biblical verses don't frighten me. I'm not afraid of them.
Are you afraid of people that feel like putting them on state applications for work?
Well, what I'm afraid of are people like remember Interior Secretary Kleppe, who quoted the Bible as a justification for not following the National Environmental Policy Act, because if the earth is destroyed, well, that's fulfillment of biblical prophecy. That's idiocy.
Right.
That is foolishness. And I don't let it besmirch the reputation of the wisdom that can be found in the Bible because a bunch of idiots misuse it.
Right, you can be reassured that a much more educated class of people will be taking away your rights than would in other states.
Well, it's interesting to me that really the reason that this came out about him and why several different groups in Alaska have been really excited about this appointment is that they feel like what's coming up with the woman's right to choose, the teenage permission to get an abortion or not, that this is going to be something that this man can address and stop all of the dying babies in Alaska. And I find it interesting that I don't think I've met him, nor have I slept with him, so why should he be able to tell me what to do with my body? Not that I'd listen anyway. But you know what I mean? It's like,